Making sure, because it wasn't showing up for me, but now I'm starting to see it here. Let me get this shared to my page, which I think I'm already tagged in it actually, so I probably don't need to do a whole thing. So let's go ahead and put that in there. All right, make sure I'm up, and then we can get going. I see the closed captioning is working. There we go. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Good to go there. Okay, so go ahead and just doing a quick live here, kind of filling people in case you happen to miss the show this morning, the sunrise show. Of course, you still have midday and all of the evening shows to get your forecast going there. Moving, oh, it's that camera again, isn't it? I was looking at that one. Number 5. Anyway, so what we were doing here is just a quick update to let you know what's going on. Shouldn't take too much of your time, of course. No serious weather or anything coming in, so that's not why I'm here. Just touching base in case you missed out. So let's talk about what's coming up. The last couple of days have been practically perfect in every way. What I like to call Mary Poppins days for that exact reason. I would say Tuesday started a bit on the chilly side, but had a perfect afternoon. And then yesterday started with a perfect morning and started edging a little bit warm, but still 2 fantastic days, 2 days that you're really not going to get better weather in South Mississippi, because as we know, going further into spring, it only gets warmer and more humid. So it really didn't get any better than that. I hope you were able to enjoy them. Today is not going to be any slouch either. It's going to be a very, very nice day, but we're starting to edge into that slightly warmer than it should be and slightly more humid weather that is just noticeable. So it's still going to be nice out there. There's no reason to cancel any outdoor plans for the next several days, really. But eventually rain does move in. So the last few days were perfect, but we're starting to get a bit more on the humid side. That's going to lead to much warmer mornings over the last couple. If you remember, we started off this week, and even Tuesday still had some areas that, if they had stayed as cold as they got a little bit longer, we could have seen some frostiness out of those, but just didn't quite stay there for that time period. So looking outside right now looks absolutely gorgeous. As you can see there from Laurel Ford and Laurel, temperatures already starting to climb. We were down as low as 54, I believe, in this area, just a little north of the Hattiesburg, of the Central Pine Belt, Hattiesburg area. So already starting to warm nicely under pretty much nothing but sunny skies. Now there are clouds out there. You can't really see them in any of our shots, but we will see them start to move in, especially as things warm up, and that adds just a little bit more lift or instability to the environment, and we can kind of start getting those puffy cotton ball clouds. But the issue is that once those clouds move in, we're not going to lose them. They're going to stick with us for about the next 8 days at least. Not really dropping below 50-50 in terms of clouds to sun at any given time, and maybe even edging more towards mostly cloudy conditions or even overcast as we see some showers begin to pop up for the start of next week. So beautiful there at Forest General Hospital as well, where it's already climbed back into the 70s, and you can see that here at Jones College in Ellisville, where I actually got to spend most of my morning yesterday for the top of the class event, where they bring the valedictorians, salutatorians from around the area to the campus. Give them a nice breakfast, a good speech to get them ready for college, and a campus tour. Always a great event. Absolutely, I love going out there whenever I can and helping out with that. Here in Walt Massey Ford in Columbia, this is where it was actually the coolest this morning, getting down to, I believe, like 53. And had some patchy fog developing. Now that would tend to happen over here near the Pearl River, or at least as close as some of my cameras get. There's a little bit of a valley there as well, trapping some cooler air, and that helps you condense a little bit more moisture out of it. So tends to be one of the fog-prone areas, and it wasn't even all that bad there today, but I could see on my charts that there was definitely some change in that. So for the rest of the day, I don't expect it to be bad. As much as I've said, you know, it's not perfect anymore, and the sky certainly isn't falling, but we will see those nice sunny skies last with us until about lunchtime. Shortly after that, things will start getting a little bit wispy, and then you see for the rest of the day, we have that cloud cover there that's basically got us up to about 50-50, as we said. Still don't expect it to ruin your day, and we'll still have a nice sunset and all that, but you can definitely notice the cloud cover over the last couple of days, which have just been, again, perfectly clear and basically perfect. So it's hard to compare anything to the last couple of days and feel good about it. So as we take a look at the hour-by-hour futurecast here and head into the afternoon, that's when I expect we'll hit our high. I've had this day's high as, I keep saying high, but that's the only word I can use there. I've had today's afternoon high as 87 earlier in this week when I expected the cloud cover to stay away just a bit longer. Now it looks like it will build in, so instead of 87, that drops us down to about 85. But still with the slight bump in humidity, it still feel about like that range. And you can see the cloud cover popping up there. Now, I'm just going to let this run. I think it runs all the way into almost Sunday. You can see the cloud cover thickening there. It thins a little bit. It comes right back throughout it all. We're still not talking about any rain or anything like that until we start heading into very late Sunday night, really the past midnight into Monday morning hours. That would be about the earliest I expect we could see any rain. And even then we're talking some showers until we start heading into the afternoon and the potential for thunderstorms goes up, which is just looking like some scattered activity as a very weak boundary pushes into the area. So shouldn't be anything serious, but as we know and as we find out pretty much every time we have these summer storms, once you hear a rumble of thunder, we basically just always have the ingredients in place to get a good thunderstorm going. So if you hear that, it's always good to just keep it in the back of your mind because they try to overachieve all the time down here. I know last weekend, I think we talked about some spotty thunderstorms that would happen that weren't expected to be severe and didn't until Saturday afternoon even have a severe risk from the Storm Prediction Center. One of those managed to produce some hail and got a little gusty as it was passing through areas of Marion and up into Wayne County. So temperature-wise, which is, again, the last couple of days have been the aberration, basically perfect days, you can see that we're going to start working our way further up into the mid-80s, which is where we're going to get today. A degree above that for tomorrow. Then that cloud cover will start acting as a little bit of a shade umbrella and bring us down into the low 80s there, as will the rain-cooled air that we'll see move in as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Still just expecting those spotty thunderstorms, nothing big there, but just the act of rain coming through the atmosphere tends to cool things down, and that pushes that colder air to the surface as well. But you see that normally when a front moves through, it brings colder and drier air, and we experience a cool down. That's exactly what happened at the start of this week and what brought that practically perfect weather. But at this point, we're not going to see that happen, as this front may bring us some slight northerly wind shift for a moment, but it just kind of surges the opposite direction almost immediately. And you see once that rain clears out and that rain cooling stops, we just start climbing up. And you'll see later exactly how high it looks like we may end up going there. So your muggy meter is really the important thing. Things have been very dry down into the amazing category. We've already climbed back up towards comfy. We'll stay there right under sticky, or what would be considered humid for us. And then by the time we head into next week, we'll see that bump up into the almost oppressive territory, which is just dew points climbing into the 70s, which is a very muggy day for you, we'll say. Especially, it's basically like summertime humidity there. So that's been fairly consistent. You see it kind of just slowly inching up, and even once it starts to drop, it kind of just inches down, not expecting any wild air mass changes here, bringing cooler and drier air. But we're still not talking about rain, really, until that Monday afternoon. Into Tuesday morning, potentially into the afternoon, but I think everything will get out pretty quickly by Tuesday. And then after that, it's off to the races with the warming. That will also start bringing down our pollen counts, which have been consistently on the lower side of where they started spring off, which was right there at moderate values. But it looks like there will be a slight increase in those as we head into the next several days, with the humidity bumping up and eventually that rain moving in to start off next week, which is just the production or expected production of more mold spores, which that kind of varies with homes and internal humidity and that kind of stuff. But the potential is there, and that's what we're looking at, and that can certainly aggravate the sinuses of some allergy sufferers out there. So Looking at your 7-day forecast here as we wrap things up, you can see that cloud cover. While we're still perfectly sunny now, once that builds in this afternoon, it's just not expected to give, with just minor fluctuations in there bringing slightly thicker or slightly thinner cloud cover, but we're still pretty much going to stick around that partly sunny, partly cloudy, basically a 50-50 mix throughout each afternoon and into the evening before dropping off. We'll start getting gusty as we begin into the back end of Friday and into Saturday. That's because a front is approaching us. We'll see that big surge of southerly wind, which is why we jump from the low 60s to the upper 60s and then level off as we stay there in those mid to upper 60s for our mornings. That's just giving you a good indicator of that humidity and how much is in the air. So things will be quite muggy. Then that rain moves in and cools us down just a tad there, but you see it doesn't last, and by Wednesday we're right back up to 86. Now if I extended that out a little bit further, you would see that that temperature just keeps climbing, and yesterday I had Friday at 90. Looks like we may have a potential for a quick shower in there. Now that is a long way out by weather forecasting standards, about a week to try to get that kind of detail on like a shower that might last a couple of hours in the afternoon, but it's a potential for me, so I dropped that down one, but it does not change as we head further on, and it looks like we'll get even more sun going forward. So overall, your Southern Pine Electric forecast here is looking a bit warm and humid, definitely a more summer-like pattern than what we had to start off this week, very reminiscent of what we had last week, if you remember, where it was fairly cloudy and temperatures ranged in the mid-80s, and it was humid as well. And that also led to several foggy mornings, which I expect we'll continue to see. So no major changes here, but those practically perfect days of the last couple are gone. So, as always, if you'd like to follow along with me on our social medias and things like that, you can do so. Ryan Mahan WDAM is my Facebook. You can search that. Or here on Twitter, X, we don't even have the X logo to put on there yet. That's at Ryan Mahan WX, which is the abbreviation for weather, if you didn't know that, WX. And that's all one word. I'm always posting stuff on there, whether it's all weather related or sometimes science fiction, Star Wars related. I do that kind of stuff too if you've ever wanted to discuss that. So I'll go ahead and let you guys go to enjoy the rest of your day. Again, you've got a handful of hours of pure sunshine left before those clouds start to inch in. And even then, we're not looking at any potential rain moving in until the start of next week. So I'll let you get out and enjoy it, and see you later.